Do you recommend it?
Yes.
I also recommend it.
If you like thrillers, like psychological stuff, yeah.
Yeah. And you want to see James McAvoy doing the Lord's work.
McAvoying the out of it.
Oh, he McAvoy's up and down.
McAvoy's all over the place.
Yeah. I wound up with some on me.
We didn't even see it in 4D yet.
Yeah. Nice.
YUNKJunk!
What's up to our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the mother-loving geek nation? Welcome to the Speak Lots of Evil Cult Pop podcast, episode 94, where we talk about James McAvoy, TV, comics, Jason Voorhees, and all the other things that scratch your nerdy little itches. Coming to you live from YUNKJunk HQ.
YUNKJunk.
Perfect. A bomb-ass podcasting production space.
I don't know.
In Philadelphia, PA. I'm your host, JD of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, PA. It is a rad-ass comic shop that caters to rad-ass folks of all shapes, sizes, genders, whatnots. So come on down and hang out. I'll chew on a dog. With me tonight to talk is Noel.
Chew on a dog.
Hi. That was
and
last
Alice.
week.
I'll eat anything you want me to eat. Swallow anything you want me to swallow.
I did rewatch Beetlejuice. And it made me appreciate Beetlejuice more.
Right.
Yeah.
It's we watched it afterwards too.
Yeah.
It's a super random movie. And my nostalgia
want to watch it again.
Also,
I absolutely too.
Christopher Goodnight saying there's no video.
Uh-oh.
And Costa said hot mic.
Hot mic.
Oh, shit.
Oh, keep talking.
Are we fucked up?
Keep talking until we have to.
Anyway, also in the booth is our trusty producer who's nothing's messed up. Dylan.
Oh, see,
he doesn't have a mic.
I'm going to throw my voice.
Hello. Dylan, if anyone that's watching or listening wants to know more about YUNKJunk HQ, the space and the services, where can they inquire?
They can hit me up at dylan@yunkjunk.com. And yeah, email me and we'll get some stuff done.
That's
Yeah.
YUNK.
We got video.
JUNK.
Hi, everybody. I was going to start making up really funny lies about what was going on in the studio.
Put your pants on.
I think it's our internet connection is acting a little funny.
Oh, we got some
I've been getting
funky
that
internet
all day. I think that's the weather or something because I've been getting knocked off the internet all day today.
There is lag. Not sure if me.
That's all good.
That's all right.
It might just
Anyway,
be our internet.
for tonight's
Costa.
main topic, we're going to be discussing the underpublicized remake, Speak No Evil. But before we get into that,
I saw no trailers for this movie ever.
ever they didn't. I don't think they made one. I want to thank you
in trailers
for being here with us.
What's the runtime of the movie? Like an hour and 15 minutes? I think I've seen more runtime of the trailer of the movie than this movie.
Probably. I don't know the runtime of the movie.
It's so funny because I think I've only seen the trailer like once or twice, but it's all over the internet that everyone has seen this trailer too many times.
Even when I didn't go to see it.
To the movies late though.
That's true.
Yeah. So dude. Yeah.
If I went, even if it wasn't a horror movie, Speak No Evil trailer was popping up. I'm like, why?
I don't know if it's true or not, but somebody did say that they went to a screening of this a couple weeks ago, like a pre-screen, one of those like fan screenings, and there was a trailer for it beforehand.
That's amazing.
That's hilarious.
That's wonderful.
And I kind of believe it because they are just pre-packaged trailer packages. Yeah. Anyway,
it is an hour and 50 minutes, so you might have seen more.
Yeah, baby.
If you're here with us live, feel free to comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you know when we go live and add new content. If you're watching this later, do that stuff as well. We love a little back and forth, so pipe up in the chat and or send us emails at cultpopgo@gmail.com. Speaking of emails, we don't have a single one. So let's move on to, hey, Cult Poppers, what's poppin'? I'm going to start with, no. What was poppin' for you?
Well, this past weekend was Saturday the 14th, and the day before that is Friday the 13th. And my wife was out with friends, so I decided to watch some Friday the 13th. And I decided to focus on what I had not seen yet.
Oh, there's Friday the 13th that you have not seen?
Up until less than a week ago, I had not seen the 2009 remake by Marcus Nispel.
Yeah.
All right, I have a story about this one when you're done talking about it.
I have been told for years that it's pretty solid, that it's kind of cool, that it's got a solid twist. I almost hated it. I think the twist was pretty solid. I liked the story part where there was a story, but it is so 2009 it fucking hurts.
Yep.
Like it's like the movie was directed by Maxim magazine.
Oh my God.
And so much like
your boobs are stupendous or whatever.
Stupendous.
So juicy, dude.
But it's not even that sequence itself, because that's just so ridiculous. It's parody.
I
Also,
love
too,
that bit. I think it's
also
funny.
too, it is funny because literally other people get killed and Jason goes on a walk around the house and looks at something else and they're still fucking.
Yeah.
So it's like funny, but that's not the part that's egregious. It's the fact that like it's just such a vapid movie.
Yeah.
It's not fun enough to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's just edgy. And I'm
See,
bored with that.
You said that to me on text or something. Can you elaborate on what was edgy about it?
I don't know. Every single instance that there could be boobs, there's boobs. Every single instance that, and nothing was creative whatsoever. There was no creative kills. There was no creative scenarios. It was literally paint by numbers. It was the most algorithmic creation of like this scenario, and it was just fucking edgy.
I really
edgy in
like
so much as like a 13-year-old came up with this, and I fucking love it. I hate it. I think I hated it. The more I think about it, the more I hate it.
You're almost doing. You're almost here.
This movie pissed me off, guys. No, because I really wanted to love it. I love schlock.
Yeah.
It is not fun enough to be schlock.
This is garbage, not trash.
This is garbage, not trash. And I love tension.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's like the facsimile of tension without actually having any of the tense moments. Marcus Nispel's remake of Texas Chainsaw is 10 times more effective.
Oh, yes.
10 times more
remake,
effective.
yeah.
That movie was really solid. And it's the same director. It's like he took that aesthetic and removed any and all tension, emotion, plot construction, and just put Jason in it.
See,
I hated
that's
it.
kind of what Jason movies are to me. For the most part, they're just a bunch of people. We're gonna watch them get killed off. We're gonna watch them people have sex and then get murdered. I don't go to Friday the 13th for like the plot.
Oh wow.
Unless it's number 7. I like 7 because it's got not Carrie in it.
But so on paper, yeah. But those movies have fun with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
This movie was not fun at all.
Okay.
It didn't even want to have fun. It just wanted to, like, I think the sequence that I really lost it was the boy and girl on the boat and scene transition.
Like the beginning?
No.
Oh.
This is like, I mean, the beginning was also weird. Like softcore porn weird. But there's a scene where they take the kids, the other guy, the rich kids, speedboat, and they go skiing, and they don't establish it. They don't like have a conversation. She's just skiing topless.
Yep.
Just like that. And he gets shot with an arrow in the head out of panel, and it's just boring. And then she gets it. So, but that does lead to like the best kill in the whole movie.
The dock.
And then up.
Yep.
And
That's
then the
awesome.
bunk. Yeah.
That is the 1-2 seconds of creativity in this entire fucking
if I may,
movie.
I also really liked, because this is the first time that maybe I'm wrong. It's the first time I remember Jason having a plan of any sort other than like kill. There's a sequence where someone is outside and they're running back and they're watching him run. And I think Jason, it's been so long since I've seen it, I believe he just axe throws and hits the guy right in the back and then lets him stay out there screaming for help in order to get them to come out.
Yeah.
But one of the kids in the house is like, he's doing this on purpose.
Yeah.
And so, you know, these kids have this, to me, it was tense. It was like, oh, our friend is out there with an axe in his back screaming for our help. But if we go out there, we'll die sort of thing. So like, it's scenes like that
There's 2 or 3 sequences that are solid, but in the context of the entire movie that was vapid and sweaty, I just did not have fun.
Fair enough.
And I watched it all the way through, no pausing. I just actually sat there hoping for it to like get better.
I really liked it. I really had fun with it.
And I like the stupidity. I don't think that Jason is dumb. They're slasher movies. They're on the surface dumb, but the best of the Jason movies have a personality. They don't even have to be winky, but they have like a personality. Yeah. It was paper. I keep thinking Maxim magazine. It is paper thin. I literally can smell the pages of the worn out issue in a bin. It just wasn't a good movie.
Okay. You have a story?
Yeah. So this movie came out when I was 16. like right when I was 16, I
Shouldn't have been allowed to get a ticket.
wasn't. I convinced my poor mother to take me and 5 of my friends to the theater to
Wow.
see this movie
Nice.
on my 16th birthday.
Did she sit with you?
We, of course, my mom stayed for the movie because my mom loves horror movies and my mom loves like Friday the 13th. She's like, okay, fine. Like you can see this one. Like it's rated R, but like I've seen the original. My poor mother was mortified that she got 5 of my friends to this movie. She's like, their parents are going to kill me.
Yeah.
There's just boobs everywhere.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom. I love you. And so this is such like a special memory for me because like we like literally went to the mall. Yeah, I saw boobs, guys. No.
I learned about me so hard that day.
No, we went to the mall first. It was a movie theater in the mall. So my mom took me and my friends to the mall. We went to like Hot Topic.
Yeah.
I bought like all my clothes there and funky hair dye.
Still
Manic Panic, probably.
Still.
Yeah.
to this day.
And then we went to the movie. We saw a dumb slasher,
That
and I
sounds great.
loved it.
Mhm.
So I think I know now that it's not a good movie, but I haven't revisited it because I don't want.
Spoil that memory.
Even if you
tarnish
do
that
revisit
memory.
it, your memory is still valid. Even if the movie
Yeah.
sucks to you now, it's totally fine. It's just
I mean, I think it sucks now because this was my first Friday the 13th movie. I hadn't seen the 1981
That's
yet.
fun.
So this was my first foray with Friday the 13th.
it's such a fascinating remake too, because they don't do anything new whatsoever for the first 40 minutes of the
Mhm.
barely hour and a half movie. Like they speed round the first movie in a flashback. Then they speed round the second movie in a pre-credit sequence.
I love that.
And
I love that there was like a cold open of like, oh, you're with these kids at this weed farm or whatever, and you think that they're going to be the main characters the whole movie, and then they're like, oh no, they're all dead before the credits, before the title comes up.
And
Very
some
Scream.
of them are faced actors, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Very Scream.
But
Very Scream.
yeah, it undermines itself with such like also too. I forgot how in 2009 how magical and mystical weed was.
Oh yeah.
Everyone is rolls over themselves with excitement when they just see a plant.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm thinking like, not only can you order that online now, but do they understand how difficult it is to actually dry that out, hang it up, do anything
They
with
were
it?
just
Definitely
excited to
not.
have the plant.
Definitely not.
Touch it. And like, I swear to God.
Definitely not.
But I tons and tons of like masturbatory gay jokes. Like it is just so fucking dated. I did not have a good time at all.
Definitely. When you said it was so 2009, I'm like, yes.
But when I watched the
1000%.
mid 80s, late 80s ones, they don't have that like so steeped in current, even though they look 80s, they're not so hyper specific on like tone
What
of
year?
the
It
80s.
also just says in the first one, it just says present day. It doesn't say 1980 or 1979.
That's true. That's
it just
true.
says
It does.
present
I
day.
forgot about that.
It was. I'm sorry. Like the whole cold open. The titles doesn't even come up till like 23 minutes into the movie. If that whole thing wasn't undermined by weird sequences of like her oiling up her boobs, and then
I'm forgetting how much
and then
boobs were in this.
prolonged sequence of their silhouettes doggy style fucking in the tent, because it's not just like a shot.
No, there's
they
so
continually
much.
revisit
My
it
mom
over and over
almost
again.
took us out of the theater, and it was so bad. My mom was mortified.
It's not even like prudish. It's like, this is undermining the cool shit that you're trying to do. Why are you doing this? Like, there was no adult in the editing room, or only lecherous adults. It was such a weird movie, man. Such a weird movie. Totally see it. It's coming out on Arrow Video, on 4K. The writers are great. The director's got some cool stuff. Watch it. It's on Max, the one to watch for HBO.
Speaking of Friday the 13th, I was finally able to go. Well, this is the second time I've gone. So our friend Remy and Beth, they have a backyard and they got an inflatable movie screen and a little fire pit, and they put all the chairs out and they throw the movie up, trailers and stuff like that, music videos and what have you, and then just hang out in the backyard, eat pizza, candy, etc.
Amazing.
Beer, whatnot. Whatnot. And so the last time I went, it was for
we watched. It was the
Thrill Me.
Yeah, it was the
Night of the Creeps.
Oh, Night of the Creeps.
Night of the
I missed
Creeps.
that one. The last one, the one that I got to go to was the Jeffrey Rush remake. Haunted Hill, House on Haunted Hill.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And that's the night I got the call that my mom was dying, so I had to leave. So I was like,
So he didn't finish the movie.
so I didn't finish the
Anybody's
movie.
watching, yeah.
I wanted to, but mom.
Timing.
So this past weekend on Friday the 13th, they had another one, and they were just going to play a Friday. I wasn't quite sure what it was going to be.
The best one.
It was the best Friday. It is my favorite Friday the 13th. That is Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, directed by Tom McLaughlin. It came out in 1986. This was an important Friday for me because this movie we rented, it was, I don't know how old I was, but I was young enough that I had a sleepover with a bunch of other boys at my house for my birthday, and we were finally allowed to rent horror movies. So we went and got the VHSs of Friday the 13th parts 5 and 6, this one. And then
wow.
also
like-
Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
It's like whiplash between 5 and 6.
Yeah, it really is. So we watched 5, and we're like, oh, okay, fine. And then 6, we're like, holy shit, that's amazing. And then we watched Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, which has some of the most gnarly kills in the entire franchise. Like dude's veins are coming out, and he's used like a puppet, a marionette, and an actual marionette grows a Freddy face, and so that made me terrified of my action figures in the bedroom. It just horrified me, and we decided, we had a whole conversation about it. Jason doesn't kill kids. Freddy does.
Oh yeah.
So that's why we were like, Jason comes around, we're chill. We're screwed if Fred shows up.
Also,
So
you can't not sleep.
And also, yeah.
Watch
yeah.
me. No.
You can't run away
Screw
from
sleep.
snores.
Yeah. So
You're
watching
fucked.
that movie just terrified me for months. I had so many nightmares, and I was terrified all the time. But anyway, Friday the 13th, Part 6. You were talking about
Best movie.
having personality.
For days.
This
For
movie,
days.
out the wazoo. Do you have any experience with? What's your experience with this?
This was, I think this might have been the second or third one I ever saw. Because I saw them wildly out of order. We're around the same age,
same.
and I was 5 when this came out, 4 when this came out. So it's various trips to the video store. This is the one that stayed in my memory the most because I watched them out of order and stuff, and in different sequences. Some of them I saw on like USA cut up versus USA Network. Now they're the place for characters, but really they used to be just edited horror movies late at night.
I want to say that's how I saw Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
I saw all of like Trauma movies and Jason movies on
Really?
up all night. Yeah,
Nice.
with Gilbert Gottfried or Rhonda Shear. The opening sequence of this movie is like seared on my brain, the resurrection of Jason.
So good.
And I didn't realize at the time that's basically when the series became what it's most known for. A zombie. Like, the first couple of the first 4 movies were adult Jason, and he's still alive. He straight up dies in the 4th one, and the 5th one doesn't even involve him at all. Spoilers.
Yeah.
But he becomes a zombie.
Yeah.
Like, this is the creation of that.
He's galvanized. Yep.
Basically, this is the creation of that myth, that version of that myth of him being indestructible and forever.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it at the time. I love the whole opening sequence of this movie.
Yeah. It's so great.
The cemetery and the cross, even the iconography and the way that it's framed and shot. Personality for days. Like camera underneath and stabbing down, like just
in the puddle.
Just fucking amazing.
So good.
All of this is amazing.
And even little things like, they're driving. First of all, it's Tony Goldwyn.
Yeah.
As one of the counselors. And they're driving a bug. What are those called?
A VW bug?
A VW bug. Herbie. And in order, he's got like,
Classic.
he still has the pole, the metal pole that brought him back to life using lightning. And he's got that as his weapon. He puts it through the tire guard into the tire. He puts it through the front of the, so cool. And the writing is really snappy and cheesy, but hilarious. It rides that really thin line of almost too much, but pretty funny.
Honestly, I think that's probably like Jason. If you've never seen a Friday the 13th movie, Jason Lives is probably the perfect litmus test for the difference between trash and garbage.
Yeah.
Because it knows it's trashy, but it's still artistically trashy. Where I think that 2009 is garbage because it's trashy, and that's the point. as opposed to there being a larger kind of like, let's play with this kind of scenario. So like those are two probably like beat for beat, very similar movies, but very dissimilar experiences as me as a viewer. Yeah, 100%.
So it was awesome to go like sit in the backyard and watch it out.
That's awesome.
At
you
nighttime.
have to watch it outdoors. That's like the best way to watch Friday the 13th movie.
Jason Lives is actually, it's one of the few Friday the 13th movies that my wife will watch with me.
Oh, it's because it's barely a horror movie.
It's great.
And you know what I never noticed
it's
growing
like
up?
a 13-year-old's perfect horror movie.
You never see a kill in this movie. It always cuts away. Crazy to me. Because
you imagined worse.
Yes. Yeah. As I'm watching, I'm like, oh, they're cutting away a lot. Is this a re-edit? No, it's always this way. So anyway, hey, Alice.
Hey, me.
For you this week, what was poppin'?
Nothing Friday the 13th related. Just kidding. I listened to the Halloweenies podcast. I listened to the first episode that they did on Friday the 13th. I think it was released back in 2018. It was a while ago.
Was it season 2?
Yeah, it must be
2 or 3.
So quick background. Halloweenies podcast is awesome.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
I don't know. I think Noel must have told me about it.
I listened to all of their Scream season because you guys recommended it to me.
It's called Halloweenies because so what it is a deep dive podcast on a horror franchise. The first one that they did was the Halloween franchise. And when I say deep dive, they're 2 to 3 hour long episodes, sometimes 2-parters where they get into production, music, actors, connections, script revisions, merch, like literally the whole ecosystem of a horror movie, and then they go in
one
there.
episode.
Yeah.
Per movie.
And what was it? Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street,
Scream,
Evil Dead.
Oh, Evil Dead.
Oh, that's right.
Scream,
Chucky.
That's right. They did Child's Play, and now they're on Alien.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're really good. I really like them. So anyway, go ahead.
So it was Friday the 13th, and Costa really wanted to catch up on the Rings of Power show. He's been watching season 2, and I haven't watched any of it. So I was like, all right, I'm going to sit here and crochet. I've also been getting into crocheting. Nice. And I was like, I'm going to crochet and I'm going to listen to something Friday the 13th related because it was Friday the 13th. And I started listening to the podcast, and I was immediately drawn in. Yeah. I mean, the 1980 Friday the 13th is one of my favorite movies, a lot because of the practical effects that they do. And it was just so interesting hearing all the deep dive stuff. Like I knew, obviously, this movie draws inspiration from / they kept saying rips off Halloween. Like it was like they wanted something Michael Myers-esque. And
yeah, it's bonkers to me that John Cunningham put an ad out in the paper and just had the logo Friday the 13th, the scariest movie ever made, and they had no script. They had no idea.
The Last House on the Left. Oh, yeah. They added that detail in there too. And
crazy.
I also didn't know about all the legal stuff between Vic Miller and
as much as
Sean
I know
Cunningham.
About it, I don't think I know anything. It is so intricate.
They explained it all, and I'm like, what?
I follow Zerner. So in part 3, he's the curly haired guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's a Hollywood attorney now.
I remember. Yes.
That's cool.
I remember that.
And he does a lot of trademark work. And every time something happens, he's got a long Twitter thread trying to explain and update people on what the fuck is going on.
I need to read
because
that.
They did just do another announcement of like Jason Universe with like a 1 and a symbol in the logo, or 1 and a 3 or something.
Yeah.
But that's like only for merch, games, and potential for blah, because the rights are owned by movie rights are owned by this person, TV rights are owned by this person, Jason rights are owned by this person, Friday the 13th rights are, like it's all just a clusterfuck.
Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead. No.
Beside all that, I also I knew obviously it's like based on Halloween.
Yeah.
Also the nod to Psycho, but like the inverse of it with the mom avenging the son and pretending to be him at the end with the creepy little voice that she does. But something that I thought was interesting that they pointed out was it also got a little inspiration from Carrie with some of the music scoring under it, and also the last dream sequence with like the jump scare at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Although this one is more of a jump scare because I think in Carrie she's dreaming, and this one you didn't.
That just pissed me off again about 2009.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry.
Why does it end like that?
I don't remember the end. I don't remember the end.
I don't remember the end either.
Better on for it.
But I also loved they really got into, even though it was a ripoff of Halloween. Their words, not mine. Don't come for me. I'm so paranoid.
And also, it's literally a ripoff of Halloween.
Yeah,
I'll say
it ended up becoming the blueprint for just like something entirely different. Like so many other horror movies and slasher movies are now, they take place in the summer or they take place at a camp, like Sleepaway Camp, another one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's another fun one.
It's so fun. And I just thought it was so interesting how they got into all the little minutiae of that and how that happened. And they got into all their deaths. They have a similar, they said one of the top 5 deaths in all of the Friday the 13th franchise for them was Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon, of course.
That's one of my favorites too.
Through the neck, under the bed.
That's one of my favorites. Although they did point out in the uncut version, it doesn't look as good. And that's the version I have on DVD because like the neck looks super fake. But I still love it because it's all the practical effects.
All of those older movies, the when they restore and then do like 4K upgrades, they always look like shit.
Yeah. But I still love it.
No, it's just like the grain actually makes it look a little bit more realistic, or the shading, but then as soon as you brighten it up and smooth it out, it
you just see all the prosthetics.
You see that it's like a flap. Ugh.
They also got into the debate of when they thought this movie actually took place, because they say they give the time stamp in the beginning that it was like 50 something, and then it just goes to, it says Friday the 13th, June Friday the 13th, present day. It doesn't give a year. And they're like, okay, they filmed this in 79, but if you're seeing this in 1980, is it 1980? Or like, what time are we in? I was like, I didn't even think of that. I just always assumed it was 80.
They even went looking at Friday the 13th on the calendar.
Yes.
Yeah.
They literally went into all, I was like, damn.
And they had to be over the summer. They continue that bit for every episode.
That's so funny.
To like, okay, so this has to be 2-3 years later because of summertime Friday the 13th. With like it gets more aggressive, and honestly, it's a bit that's funny and then old and then funny again and then old and then like, okay, your commitment is commendable.
The one thing we will that we agree on, not the one thing, but like
just one.
They disagree on
we agree on.
It's so hard being on this podcast.
They can be a little get off my lawn. About modern movies and modern, like one of them gets mad at movie theaters for having more than one movie playing. Cineplexes.
I'll name names. Let's fucking go.
I never know which one's which.
I follow these dudes. I like them. Gerber. Justin Gerber. Gerbo. Justo.
Justo Gerbo.
He thinks that most movie theaters are rat holes. Hates them because the theater experience, and I kind of agree with him. The theater experience is absolute shit now because no one really respects the space.
Oh yeah.
But then if it's not open up to a lot of people, then it becomes a rat hole. So he's just like, so in his head, he's got like, or not even in his head, just like literally has a list of theaters near him that are worth going to. And if it's not playing what he wants to see, he straight up won't see it in a theater because so many different experiences have been ruined for him. And I honestly, good for you.
I mean, that's respectful if you know your own thing.
Rothman is the one who I talk with on Twitter all the time who does hate. He went on this whole diatribe about how multiplexes have ruined movie theaters or have ruined movies because instead of it being, I just kind of discover something at my dualplex and it stays for a while and we all talk about it like water cooler stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a deluge of tons and tons of options and only big movies kind of survive in the system. He has a point, but then I feel like the blame is put in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Like you have a point that there's tons and tons of channels and only the things that cost the most get in the 4 quadrant, get the most attention. Great. I don't think it's the building's fault.
Yeah. I just thought it was a very specific sort of complaint.
He goes in and yells at the poor kid selling popcorn. It's all your fault.
It's like a
extra butter though.
Causation. Like it's like it's the wrong connection was made. Like the multiplexes did not cause the entertainment system to be this varied and this segmented. They've just rode the wave.
Yeah.
So you can't blame Regal or Cobb. Like that's not a thing, dude.
Agreed.
Anyway, other great though.
Speaking of, we're in the chat. Pink says, we went to a local historical site theater and watched the OG F-13th and the crowd was great. Cheered the kills, laughed at the cheesy lines, booed the snake being killed. They killed a real snake.
I am a huge reptile lover. I used to have I had a lizard that I love very much. I miss him, Targaryen, but I love snakes. And I was so pissed when I found out that snake actually died.
Yeah. I remember thinking like, oh man, that's a really good fake snake. And
the person who owned the snake, who raised that snake, was there.
Yeah, he was upset.
Obviously.
Can I talk about Pink? Thank you so much. Copy paste Noel's opinion of the remake. I thought it was terrible for the exact same reasons.
Nice.
You guys don't remember the end? Can we spoil the end?
Yeah,
Spoil
please.
the end of 2009, please. I don't remember.
The sister and the brother survive.
Yeah.
They killed Jason.
Great.
Who is responsible for murdering 10 other people in their vicinity, and including police.
Yeah.
So they cut to on a dock. They take Jason's body to kick it into the water. Just kick it into the... Why the fuck would you kick a body that is responsible for all this carnage and you're the only two survivors? Yeah. Kick it in the water.
I remember being like, what are you guys doing?
Of course, he jumps up out of the water and but it's like...
What was the reason for that?
Makes absolutely no fucking sense. You reverse engineered stupidity from stupidity. And I wanted to break my television.
That's one of the things about now that I remember it. Yeah. That was one of the things where I was like, that was a weird end.
Yeah, why would you do that? CW dude kicks the body in the water, and I'm like, why? That's your alibi. Everyone's dead.
Now everybody thinks you did it.
Why?
I want a short of just that screaming.
Fucking thing.
Are we getting a spoiler alert? Oh, you mean
for Speak No Evil? Yes.
No. Oh yeah. Well, spoiler alert. We used to have the show used to be called Spoiler Alert.
Oh, okay.
The comic review show. So I don't know if he means fresh floppies.
I think he means Christopher St. Saucy asked if we're getting a spoiler alert for the main review tonight. Yes, he mentioned earlier he's going to go see it tomorrow.
Okay, yes, we will definitely let you know. Speaking of which, let's get on to it. Speak No Evil, written and directed by James Watkins, based on Speak No Evil by Christian Taldrup and Mads Taftrup, starring James McAvoy, Mackenzie Davis, and Scoot McNairy. A dream holiday turns into a living nightmare when an American couple and their daughter spend the weekend at a British family's idyllic country estate. So this one's going to need a little bit of backstory for me. Mm-hmm. I saw the original is a Danish film.
Came out so long ago.
2022.
Yep.
Came out.
Yep.
I watched it. I saw the poster on Shudder, I think, and I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool. I heard rumblings that it was pretty good. And so I turned it on, and it was fine for the most part. And the end was kind of effed up, and I was like, well, that was effed up ending. Boop. And then I proceeded to be haunted by it for months and months and months. I would just lay in bed with my family awake at the middle of the night and just think about the end of the movie. And I was a new father at the time. So that had a very profound effect on me, having a kid. And it just terrified me, just because of, I guess, how it ends, and sort of how nihilistic the ending is. So I was a little nervous. First of all, I was surprised that they remade it 2 years later, and it's already an English-speaking film. So it's not like we needed to have it translated. So I thought that was interesting. But James McAvoy, Mackenzie Davis, Scoot, I like all these cats. So I was not sure if I was going to see it, to be honest.
Same.
We both have similar triggers.
Yep.
Revolving children.
Yep.
And so we decided to do it for the show, and we went together to go see it.
Yeah. And I spoiled the entire thing for myself before going because I was that nervous.
On like Wikipedia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've already spoiled the first. I'm never going to see the first one.
Yeah, you're good.
I spoiled it for myself.
So, and I did not. I didn't know how this movie was going to go, but it did occur to me, like, I don't think we're going to see James McAvoy doing the things that happened in the original movie. He's too big a name and too pretty a face to see him be doing that sort of stuff. So, that's sort of my preamble for Speak No Evil. I don't know if any of you guys had seen the original. I know some of people love it. Some people hate it.
It is, I've not watched the whole thing, but it has been described to me as a masterclass on cringe horror.
Explain what that means. What's cringe horror?
The point is to make you uncomfortable and push your boundaries. And in the context of the movie, that's what these people are doing. They are pushing and pushing and pushing on the boundaries of politeness to the point where you aren't yourself anymore. You're in danger. Yeah. Like how polite is too polite to the point where you're now stuck.
And apparently, a
Which
lot
is a
of
weird
that
kink.
is steeped in sort of Danish culture. That's just everyone is sort of bred to be that way. It's just they don't want to interfere or put anyone put upon anyone, that sort of thing. So I don't know how much it works for
I
Americans.
was gonna say, like, would that translate for American audiences so much?
Certain ones that I know.
I
know some people who are like, oh, I don't want to. Can I? You know.
Yeah.
Priest.
I thought it did, and I don't know. I mean, I don't want to be this person, but I think it's different for women because we're often taught to just like be nice, go along with it, don't laugh, smile, and it gets you into not great situations sometimes. Yep. I've never been in this severe of a situation, but I've definitely I was watching it and I'm like, I've been there. I was like in like some of the earlier stages of the movie when they're like just testing it. I'm like, oh my God, I've had this conversation.
So, what did you think of Speak No Evil 2024?
So I'm not gonna lie, I was really nervous to see this movie because of my specific triggers. Even after I spoiled it for myself, I was still nervous it was going to be too much for me. I was for the first time in probably my life, I was like dreading going to this movie.
Yeah,
I thought I was gonna not enjoy it at all, and I was so pleasantly surprised. I actually really liked it.
Same.
Yeah,
same.
I really, really enjoyed it.
I like a big sigh of relief when the credits started. I was like,
I'm not gonna. I was like, it was definitely. It's still very creepy.
Yeah.
Still very scary. That's not what I'm saying. That I wasn't. It just didn't have my specific trigger in it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, at least it's not shown, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. 100%. We're on the same track. I think that some of the changes that they make here, which I won't spoil yet, do just sort of plop it into a regular thriller, like a regular American thriller, as opposed to something that might stick with you for months on end, in the middle of the night. You know, it's not that sort of experience for me. It has been very Americanized, which is what I kind of suspected would happen. I hoped would happen, but now that I've seen it and it has been really Americanized, I find myself being like, well, the original like had a point. And even though it was very nihilistic and it made that point more clearly than I think the American version does, because it sticks to it, sticks to its guns. So I found myself being like, it does feel like maybe it's a little less than because of the Americanization of the film. So it's a little bit bittersweet, you know? So yeah, I don't know what else we could say without spoiling it, because a lot of it is spoilers.
And I don't want to talk about the ending until we get into spoilers. So I'm going to try and say it without spoilers. But
do you recommend it?
Yes.
I also recommend it.
If you like thrillers, like psychological stuff, yeah.
Yeah. And you want to see James McAvoy doing the Lord's work.
McAvoying the shit out of it.
Oh, he McAvoy's up and down.
McAvoy's all over the place.
Yeah. I wound up with some on me.
We didn't even see it in 4DX.
Yeah. Nice.
I'm talking about Dylan's best friend.
There is a look. The reason the reason I was really excited to see this is there is a specific look in the trailer from James McAvoy.
The little twitchy smile.
The twitchy smile that he gives.
Oh my God.
It's so good. I don't even know how to make my face do that.
I was going to try to do it at camera, but I definitely can't.
So good. So that, you know, he's just really great. Mackenzie Davis, also really good in it. I love her.
Some of her acting when she looked genuinely terrified.
She does the best.
I'm having a panic attack right now.
Holy shit face.
It was so good.
I guess that's not an O face.
The quiver.
It was like face. She, like in the eyes, like nailed it. Like when something clicked to her and she realized what was happening. And she was like, shit, I was so good.
Yeah, she's really good.
So good.
And Scoot McNairy, also very good. Both of those cats I know from *Halt and Catch Fire*. Very good show. Wait,
Scoot McNairy of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice?
Yes.
Oh
the guy in the wheelchair.
God.
That's him. They called him Scoot.
Yeah.
He's in a.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Oh my God.
Christopher Goodnight says, no, I mean fresh floppies. I forgot what's the name of the new show. Gotcha. So that's all we can really do without spoiling this movie, Chris. GTFO, because we're going to spoil the hell out of this movie and probably the original movie. So if you're not into that, peace out, and we'll talk at you later. So yeah, spoiler alert starting meow. Oh, what's up?
Nothing. I Nothing.
Oh, I thought you had something.
No. Spoil it.
How do we? Okay.
Oh, wait, hang on. Spoil the first one.
Yes. Okay, great.
Thank
you.
Willingly get in a car, go down to a gorge, take off their clothes, and get stoned to death.
Get stoned to death, and then their
kid
child
becomes
gets
the new
kidnapped,
bait for
and
the
their
next one.
tongue gets cut out.
Yeah. So
after killing the other kid,
yes,
was
after
the bait for them the last time.
he was drowned.
Yes.
Yeah, he drowned.
Yeah, that's awful.
So
I mean, it's all awful.
It's a couple meets another couple on vacation. They go to their separate homes. The one couple invites the other couple. Hey, dude, we had a great time at vacation. You guys should come visit us in the middle of nowhere. You knew us for a day. This will be a laugh. So they were like, okay, and they go. And then the whole movie is this couple
pushing their boundaries,
yeah,
seeing how far they can like gaslight them and convince them.
Yep.
To go along with it. I mean, I've never seen the original, but this
even just like she is a vegetarian, and the first night that they're there, they kill and cook like a goose,
and
right?
they guilt her into trying a bite. And I've been a vegetarian for nearly 2 decades.
Yeah,
I have this conversation so often with people. I don't tell people I'm a vegetarian anymore normally because it's so tiring. People trying to test my boundary. I have been offered. Right in front of me, somebody slapped down on the table $200 for me to eat a piece of chicken just because they wanted to lord it over me that I would eat chicken.
That's so weird.
I didn't, by the way. Not that I judge anybody who did. Like I almost did because $200. I needed money at the time. But I just
how you cheat somebody out of that money. Like
it's
$100
just,
to lick it.
Like so,
what the fuck, man?
It was so
rude.
The whole time, like
is this a friend?
It comes. We don't have to talk about it. It was an acquaintance.
Not anymore.
Yeah. It's just, like when he was like testing her on it, like, oh, why are you a vegetarian? Is it for animals or for your own health? And she's like, oh, it's like a lot of reasons. Like, and he's like, well, you still eat fish? Like, that's an animal. Isn't that an animal?
Yeah.
And I don't eat fish either. But people, and then if I tell people I don't eat fish either, they're like, why? It's not really an animal. And I'm just like,
you can't win.
You can't win.
Yeah.
And so whenever people try to argue with me, I'm like, I'm not doing this. Like, I will not discuss this with you. I've been doing this for almost 20 years and I'm going to keep doing it for as long as I want to because it's my choice.
Are fish animals? Animals?
There's pescatarian, vegetarian. Some vegetarians eat chicken.
No. I just don't understand like that argument. Like, why would they bother making that line?
It's because they just
why
want.
Bother?
They interpret me saying I'm a vegetarian as me trying to debate them. Or I'm like stating a fact, like, and I usually never willingly bring it up unless like I'm out to eat with people and I order a dish that has, or I'm saying like, oh, hey, can I get this salad without the chicken on it? And they're like, why?
A pretty big red flag of just somebody that sucks is when you offer information and they get defensive about your subjective information.
I know. I think
like,
they take
what the fuck you like? What's wrong? Like, I don't want to wear shorts. Relax. It's so weird.
A lot of people take it as me telling them that they need to be vegetarian. I'm like, I've never.
They feel judged.
I have eaten so many burgers in front of you.
I've never uttered that sentence.
I never got that vibe.
Try to guilt people into my
strange amount of eye contact.
I do acknowledge that being a vegetarian is a privilege, and that's something he brought up too. Like, there's some people who just it's expensive. It's expensive.
I did have somebody that was vegan once attack me. I was like, oh, okay.
I
didn't know what to do about that.
That sucks for you too.
I didn't know what to do about it. Like, okay. Yeah, I think
people think I'm that person.
I like cheese.
I like cheese. I do too. I still eat cheese and eggs, and I get judged for that too.
Well, because you're not vegan, so it's fine. Like you can eat products, you just don't eat animals.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that, man?
Anyway,
what's wrong with that, man?
The movie.
So the movie
is all about being a vegetarian.
This movie doesn't respect those boundaries.
Yeah, it's true. And so basically, it escalates and escalates until they steal the daughter, cut out her tongue on camera, and then
the remake of this one,
the original, and they take the couple at gunpoint to a quarry and make them take off all their clothes, get in the quarry.
I don't think they were at gunpoint.
What?
No, they weren't.
I don't think they were at gunpoint. That's the craziest part of the whole movie.
I thought that was the driving point of like they're just doing it because they don't want to make a fuss.
Because if you remember at the end, they're like, "Why are you doing this?" And he's like, "Because you let me." Yeah. There was no guns because it's not an American movie.
There's no gun?
They didn't have any guns.
Oh man, I could have sworn.
There were no guns in the remake either.
The whole point, from my understanding, the whole point is the fact that they break them down so much and take everything away that they're basically black pilled into just like
That's exactly it. Yeah. There were no guns.
So they just climb into this quarry where they proceed, and it feels like a really long time. I don't know how long it actually takes place in the film, like runtime, but it feels like such a long time that they're standing there and stoning them to death.
Yeah.
And then that's the end of the movie. Very nihilistic. So I was a little nervous that they would do that again here. They do not. They do not. Right off the bat, it's just very Americanized. The family fights back and wins the day.
Eventually, yeah. There's a few points where they leave and come back and are convinced to stay, even though their own daughter was in this couple's bed with them when they were in just their underwear. Yeah. And it's like, it's just so, they're just so creatively manipulative that they like twist the story.
They constantly just prey on their empathy.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, this movie is much more palatable, I would say.
Yeah, I've never seen the original, but I would say yeah.
Yeah.
And the original kid who tips them off to like, I'm not actually their child. I have been kidnapped and my parents were murdered by these people. He ends up surviving.
Yeah.
It was nice. I didn't want to see him drown.
It's a nice little bookend because in the very first shot of the movie, you see him in the rear view.
When he's being kidnapped, like with the couple and he's in the rearview mirror. And then the end shot is him being driven away by the new family off of the land, like in the rearview mirror. And he's like, he's like traumatized. It's not like a happy ending because you can see he's seen a lot of shit. And he also was wearing
his father's watch.
When he survived and he ends up killing James McAvoy by stoning him.
Oh my God, he does. He stones him. He beats him to death with a brick.
But like with a brick.
Yeah.
It's
holy shit.
Insane.
I didn't even catch that.
Insane. So while wearing his dead father's watch that James stole, because that's like his trophy when he kills people, is he steals their watches.
And also he steals it
back and puts it on.
One of the things about this movie is I feel like that boy tries way harder to communicate to the little girl what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that in the trailer they spoil the tongue cutting.
Snip.
Like he literally does this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why would you spoil that in the trailer? Okay, weird.
Yeah, because this story is in the movie. The couple originally tells him like, oh, he was born with like a congenital thing. Yeah. His tongue's small. He can't talk. Blah, blah, blah. He's self-conscious about it. Did you also notice that he wears the same shirt throughout the entire movie?
No.
And they thought he was just like a really big football fan, so they bring him a football. No, he only has one outfit. They keep him in one outfit the entire movie. It's a football jersey. And they probably told him like, oh, he's just comfortable in that. Because they only have one outfit for him.
Bravo.
I noticed that in the trailer. I was like, these are different time points. Everybody else has changed. And this kid is still in this really weird, like just, it wasn't even like a specific team. It just said goal, like a number. And I'm like,
Sport.
I thought it was a hockey jersey. It kind of looks like a hockey jersey, but then when the couple comes to stay, they bring gifts for the family and they give him a football, like, for the football fan. And I'm like, oh, is it a football jersey?
That's funny.
Which is weird because they're in Britain. Is there American football? Or maybe it's a rugby jersey. Maybe it was rugby.
Maybe.
But maybe soccer, football, whatever.
Well, they give him a thing that looks like a football.
Rugby then.
Yeah, so I think it was a rugby ball. I don't think it was actually football.
But yeah, I'm much better. Definitely has been defanged.
Yeah.
Which begs the question, why make this? It came out 2 years ago, the original, and they decided to make an American version of it and then take all of the teeth out of the ending and just turn it into a kind of paint by numbers thriller where the family wins the day and saves everybody.
Well, it doesn't sound like they took the teeth out of the movie, just the climax.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't think it's that bad.
They still allude to, you don't see it, but they allude to the boy's family being drowned in the pond because they throw him in the pond when they're trying to get away. And that's when the family turns around to save him.
Yeah.
And then he has them all at gun. Oh, there are guns in this one. They have them all at gunpoint.
Yep.
Remakes are, the whole remake conversation is an interesting one anyway. Like, yes, the movie came out 2 years ago. It's in English. It's only on Shudder and only like people like us knew about it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a larger, exponentially larger audience and budget. So if anything, it's fortuitous for it's fortuitous for the makers of the original as well as like the streaming services that it's on and stuff, because this is very popular and it's been so touted. Actually, it seems like a win-win, honestly. Most remakes really are financially a win-win. Yeah. Like, it's only people like us that bitch about it if it doesn't match up or not.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I still there were still just some bits where I was like, oh, this is so uncomfortable, like cringy, like you said. But like I was like, this is what scares me more than anything.
Just go.
Yeah, but and then I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, would I be too polite? Like, would I? Because I get told all the time I'm too nice. I'm like, would I have been too nice? And I'm like, I like to think that I would have just driven out of there. And if my daughter forgot her favorite stuffed animal, I'd be like, I'm so sorry. But then I've been this little girl. I don't know the actress's name who played their daughter, but I thought she was wonderful too. Yeah. She portrayed being a kid with anxiety without knowing what it is so well. As a former child with anxiety, now adult who is medicated for that anxiety. Because the moment in the car when they're trying to get away and she realizes she forgot her stuffed animal, she starts having a panic attack, and you can tell like she really wants to turn around and get her bunny, and she starts her scratching. But you can also tell she feels so bad that she's asking them to turn around. And like, I've been that person who's like, I know my anxiety attack is ruining the moment right now, but like I'm like, I can't breathe. I need to do something. I need to get out of here. I need to leave. I need to leave this party. I need to do something. So I was like, oh my God, that little girl. Like I felt it in my soul when she's like, I'm so sorry, but like I can't breathe. I'm freaking out. We need to go back and get him. I'm like, oh my God.
I think it's that up until that point, it's a pretty straightforward remake until they turn around, because that happens in the original. They turn around to go get her stuffy, and then they convince them to stay and hang out a little bit longer, and then they have their day together. And then, I think that nighttime is when the switch happens. Yeah. They just needed a more palatable ending, I guess.
Pink says in the chat, there are several examples of why was this even remade that can be found in Japanese horror. Now, actually, I think there's a better case for being remade, because there's different language. There still are audiences that will not read subtitles in theaters. I mean, sometimes I have trouble with them depending on what I'm focusing on the screen. So yeah, I get it.
I forget what we were watching. Sushan and I must have been watching something, and then we saw a trailer for that show that was dubbed, and I was like, "Oh, I guess we were reading subtitles." Like I don't even realize I'm reading subtitles at this point until I hear the dubbing, and I'm like, "Oh, that's not them."
I sometimes I always preferred subtitles over dubs just because of the it's almost more distracting when their mouth is not meant. But sometimes if it's like a science fiction or something big or whatnot, it's very difficult to like keep moving my eye where it's supposed to go because I'm focusing on the bottom third. So it's really just kind of a crapshoot, but I get it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I forgot this is a Blumhouse, John. Yes.
The daughter's name, the actress' name is Alex West Leffler. I just wanted to give her credit because I thought she did phenomenally.
So it sounds like this was a fun romp.
It's got an 83% tomato meter and an 85% popcorn meter.
So fucking.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, obviously James McAvoy knocks it out of the park as usual.
It's worth seeing for him.
And I feel like you make friends on vacation. Like when you go on vacation, you make people that you either become friends on Facebook or you just never see them again. Yeah. And I was like, I feel like I've met this guy, and now I'm like I'm like, is that person a psychopath? Like,
maybe.
Are they
like
insane?
30-40% yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, I really didn't know that person.
Oh, she makes a good point. Pink says, I'll watch the dubs with giallos to enhance the surreal cheese.
I agree with that.
That is good. It's a good point.
I agree with that. Honestly, too, a lot of like older kaiju movies I think are preferable in dubbed too, because they are so over the top and like almost like theater experience expressive that that's kind of fun too.
Speaking of theaters and speaking of giallo, Pink, have you seen The Last Matinee? You should if you have not.
Told me about this. I need to watch.
I bought that on Blu-ray. So anything else we want to say about Speak No Evil?
No, just that I recommend it. Yeah.
It was very cathartic. Having seen the original and knowing what that original kid went through, and then how this ends, it was very cathartic for that character to have a different ending and to take it into his own hands. I was like, this get him.
Crushed it. Also, Dan Huff or Hugh Huff, I want to say. Or maybe.
Is it Hough? It doesn't matter. It's all good.
But he did great too. That scene where he's beating James McAvoy over the head. He's just screaming.
Yeah.
At the like.
Is he screaming? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
no,
I'm sorry.
no.
I'm sorry.
He didn't
I'm
go to the
sorry,
same
I'm
class
sorry,
as
I'm sorry,
Channing
I'm
Tatum. More like Sydney Sweeney in Immaculate.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
More of that kind of screaming.
And I like how it cuts to the parents who are just like
Horrified, but they're like letting it happen. They're like, okay. They're like covering the daughter's eyes, and they're like,
like earned it.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. So yeah, I recommend this movie.
Good for him.
Yeah. Good for you.
Good for him.
I recommend this movie. Yeah, if you like a good American thriller, it's fine. It's
Do you like James McAvoy?
really
Watch
good.
this movie.
Yeah. That's it. We did it. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought of Speak No Evil, either the original or the remake, and also remakes in general. If you got something to say about remakes, we'll read it on the next show.
Ooh.
Oh.
This is the second remake we've talked about tonight. Actually.
Next week, I know it's a Friday the 13th / remake show. Next week, we're going to talk about. So we've been doing this thing where like each of us picks a thing that we have to subject the others to. Next week's my pick.
And what did you pick?
We'll tell them next week.
Oh,
it's fine.
Yeah.
Surprise!
He subjected us to something.
Or should we say what it is so
they can watch it?
Okay. I asked them to watch Andrew Bowser's Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls.
That's right. You heard him.
Available on
Onyx
Prime.
the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls. You can watch it on Amazon Prime for free.
Yeah.
You may know him as the weird video game guy interview from 10, 20 years ago.
That person has a name. And it's Onyx the Fortuitous.
Yes, but the video was called like weird video game guy or something.
Just look up, if you want a taste of it, just look up Bowser Vids, Andrew Bowser on YouTube. All of his stuff is cataloged there.
Chances are you've probably seen this guy. Yeah.
I hadn't actually.
I don't know. Anyway, we'll talk about that next week. We'll see you guys then.
We'll see you later.
Skaloo doo doo.
Diddly dee doo.
YUNKJunk!